Will you wake me up?
Did I do what, Nancy?
Wake me up?
I think you are awake. Hello. What I can do is turn on the TV until the.
Okay, good morning. My name is Chris Caius. I am chairman of the
So-
Kane County Administration Committee, and I'm calling this Kane County Administration Committee meeting to order on Wednesday, July 10th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. Roll call, please.
Berman. Davist. Ford. Gums. Young.
I'm not gonna talk that part. until we
Juby?
figure it out.
Here. Tepe.
Jeppy here.
Vice President.
Oh, no, never mind. You have an in-person court.
Switch sides.
We have a quorum, so we'll continue with the meeting. And we have nobody on, no one online. If someone joins us, we'll pause and allow them in if that's the case. May I have a motion and a second or a request for the approval of the minutes from June 12th, 2024?
I'll make that, Nana. Go ahead.
Please don't, I have to abstain
Go ahead.
from the minutes, so please don't make it unanimous consent.
We'll take a move by Ford, second by
Berman.
Berman.
Yeah,
Roll call, please. Or is there any changes or additions? Roll call, please.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Ford.
Ford, yes.
Juby.
Juby abstained.
Caius.
Yes, yes,
Yeses with 3 yeses, 1 abstain.
okay. We have no public comments this morning, either on agenda or off agenda. The financials are in the agenda. So I don't believe there's any report on that. On item number 8, facilities master plan, is there an update this morning, Mr. Bonstock, or?
We have Heidi Files. We do not have Jason Dwyer, but Heidi has a short couple slides update on where we're at with the facility master plan. Blair, I think you have that for Heidi, and we'll let her run through a couple things of what we're trying to do to match up some of the feedback to actual draft plan. So I think we've made a lot of progress. I think we've taken into consideration some of the different things. I'm not going to steal the thunder, let Heidi talk about it, but Heidi Files can.
Yeah.
Better pass it off pretty quick here, you'll be done.
Heidi
Yes,
Files.
yes.
I can get this done in
You have the floor, Heidi.
less than 40 minutes. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So, no, I'm just kidding.
That's better than most of our meetings lately.
I don't, but there's only 3 slides. I'll just wave to you when I want it moved. Please, thank you. Oh, great, thank you. Today, we just want to review some of the comments and requests that we heard at our last admin committee and present some of the changes. I'm not going to go over all of the recommendations. I'm just going to highlight the changes. And then the intent would be 7 to 10 days before your next committee meeting that we would send you the final draft for your thorough review. And then we would bring it up again for potential approval and take it through the county board process. So we have under short-term recommendations, we really haven't made any changes except for there was some language about continuing to pursue legislative changes to allow for the development flexibility at the Judicial Center campus. We removed that for now, but we do show in the next slide, you'll see the parcel restrictions according to the Public Act. Under the midterm recommendations, we've added a parking garage to the rear of the Judicial Center renovation and addition. And under long-term recommendations, we no longer have the technical recommendation from the consultant, but what we have is a recognition of the different site options. Oops, sorry, is a recognition of the different site options. And then also a recognition that we could potentially lease or purchase space in the next in the long-term future to accommodate the government functions or the government campus. I want to make sure I have everything. We also removed under the long-term recommendations for now, the consolidation of the health department at the judicial center, but you'll see in the next slide. Oops, this is. Okay, I got it. Yeah, sorry, Charles gave it to me. This is now, it's not called the technical recommendation. This is the judicial campus site. And what we're showing here is that we have development opportunities on various sites. You have sites 1 to 5. And we've kind of rearranged the roadways here. On the east side, you can see the road coming down straight from Route 38 and then heading west to the main campus road. We are still showing the new storage and loading, the back of the jail. We have this additional by the judicial center. That's the red box. The new red box is the parking garage. We're noting the parcel restriction. You can see to the right, and actually it's on the slide, but I think we need to make it a little bit easier, and we'll probably highlight it a little bit better on the final draft. Just the restricted areas according to Public Act 86-729 to criminal courts or drug treatment uses. We also show the parcel that's not owned by the county, the southern parcel C, which is the NICOR easement or NICOR property. And then the last slide just shows the different options for the long-term addressing government center functions, and that we have 3 different sites, which is the judicial campus, the Geneva campus existing, and that we could renovate or do an addition or completely tear down, that you have options. We're not recommending one over the other. And then we have the Fabian site, and then we'll actually add some more language to the body of the plan about potential leasing and renting, leasing and purchasing space. I'd like to know if there are any other concerns or maybe requirements or additions or things you want us to consider for this plan. And if not, then I'd move, well, not move formally, but that we would continue to finalize the draft plan, send it out well in advance of the next meeting, so you have the opportunity to read it thoroughly, and then we'd bring it up for adoption.
Okay, just so not to get in too many of the weeds today, we have 3 weeks. And we all are getting a copy of this, are we?
I can send you a copy of this, or I can send you the final plan in about 10 days.
I'd like to see a copy early. I don't want to see it at the last minute, so we have opportunity, all of our
Okay.
committee members have an opportunity to
Okay,
visit, and actually any of the board members. Yeah, I think.
that's showing that I can make highlights. I can make notes. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
sounds
and
good.
then, right, so then we have the opportunity to get the direct feedback before we come in here and try and
Yes, definitely.
pass it in 15 minutes again, so.
Perfect.
all right.
Okay. Anything that you see or that's
Can
missing?
jump out of
or-
there really quick that we can address right now?
Okay.
I like the way
thanks.
we're going on it. It's taking in some of the options. I like to see the whole thing all together.
Perfect.
Which pages we put the emphasis on.
Yep.
You know, like the architect's recommendation might be back.
Could I have your name?
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
anything else from the committee? Okay, thank you.
Good.
Good, thank you.
And then, and so that's it for the master plan?
The master plan, yes.
Okay, and then we'll move on to our executive director, Roger Fonstock's report.
Yeah, so we don't have a formal report, but going back to the master plan, just real quickly for facilities, one of the things that I wanted to make sure everybody understands, we were trying to focus more on site development, or where would you have site potential? Because a lot of the ideas of developing or building buildings is going to be a long range plan. So the specific location would be determined in the future, but we were talking with Heidi and with White and Company about, while we don't have infrastructure and site development for the property at the Judicial Center, and that's something we're going to be talking about, is whether or not it makes more sense to try to develop and work through some of the site development infrastructure because of how you want the property to be built out as opposed to the buildings themselves. So we have certain sites on there that are viable for a building, but we don't have any infrastructure whatsoever. So when the multipurpose building was built, or the multi-use building, that it was put in place. And I think one of the roads that we have on there, we would actually have to relocate a certain feature that's at the multi-use building. And it's because it is in a position where it obstructs the access to the eastern property. So it's like, that's an example of where infrastructure probably should have won out over some of the design that happened. But here we are. So we're looking at, if you're going to build a building, don't put it in a place where it would impact roads, drives, infrastructure, things that we need to get through roughly, 150 acres of property. So that's one of the things that we're trying to add as well to the plan. Regarding the executive director's report, we are working on the building and real estate with the broker, JLL, and CMM, the attorneys that were hired for counsel, and also with the state's attorney's office. That's been moving along. I know it was part of a discussion yesterday in closed session, so we won't expand upon that, but that's been taking up a good portion of time. We have been doing some work to revisit the 2006 strategic plan, and we have copies of all that. I believe it was all distributed to the board, so you should have had copies of what was done in 2006, and then there was a couple of updates that were done. There was a resolution yesterday that was put forward and approved to go out to a request for proposal or qualifications. Finance is going to be taking that, even though we were talking about it historically. I just wanted to be clear that that was something that finance put forward, and Kathy Hopkinson, they're working on that. We'll help, we'll provide whatever assistance we can. But we were just asked to talk about the historical part of it. But I think it's I think it's important. It certainly helps the departments understand the overall direction that the board wants us to take. The last two things, one is the budgets. You were asked, or we were asked to put into the packet, the 2025 budget reports. They are in your packet. I will tell you that we were told to run the reports on July 2nd, which was Tuesday. Our packets are due Wednesday by noon. We ran the report pretty much at the time that it was there. We have a lot of questions and things that we want to understand, because the personnel side of it was added right before they gave us the access to the report, which is fine. We just didn't have enough time to digest all of it to give you a fair representation or presentation of what that looks like. Thursday was a holiday. A lot of us took Friday for an extra vacation day. So, and we certainly couldn't have gotten a presentation into the packet. So I think it would be good to review the budget reports, maybe make some notes as board members if you'd like. And then we could come back and do a presentation about the budgets at the next meeting. I don't know how that fits with the finance timeline, but there's just between Tuesday and Wednesday, we have so many line items to review and to evaluate. There are a few line items in there where you'll notice in the personnel side, incredible percentage increases. I mean, one of them I think is like 70 million% increase. And what it is it's because of the way they did budget entry. You're taking like a $7 million budget and adding it to a zero balance because they started from zero. So it's showing you nothing and it's saying you added 7 million. So it's 70 million% increase. It's irrelevant, those numbers. So what we're hoping is we could actually take that and kind of decipher it for you, show you what we really think it means. If you compared 2022, 23, 24, and 25, and you extended those numbers, you'd get a normal curve. Without doing that, it looks a little bit strange when you look at the reports. And there's a couple other areas where the type of work that we do or the types of things that we do with things like janitorial and cleaning have changed. So they're not in a contractual, they're in a personnel line item. And there's certain things that we're doing more of, certain things less. So we could explain how those things come together in this budget. And then there's also the overall explanation of what things have increased because of inflation, because of additional responsibilities, additional work that we have. So we could go through all of that next month, but you do have the reports, and that's what finance asked us to put on agenda. but I would like to take the time to bring it back in a month with a presentation. Charles and I were talking about it. We think we could get that done in the next couple weeks, get it out to you in advance of the meeting, and we could present it to you in a more formal way. So I just wanted to bring that up. The last piece was that the building management director, Henry Thompson, he resigned during the last month. I just wanted to, publicly say thank you to Henry for the work that he did. I think he, helped us through a transitional period that, for the year and a half. And I think, we have some really great talent inside building management, in addition to what Henry did. So, but we're not in a necessarily a desperate position. We're in a good position. We have a lot of talented people working on our stuff. Charles and I have been kind of splitting up the responsibilities, but I've been doing more with building management directly, and Charles is doing more with IT directly than maybe I used to do. But the other thing is that Brooke and her team from administration have been stepping up and helping. And then we have our project management team. We have Mark and Heidi and Brent and Matt Walker. But we have, a good team of people. We're very diverse and multifaceted. We got a lot of talent working on it. I just wanted to assure everyone that there's plenty of people taking on the responsibilities. We are advertising internally and externally for the position. We're going to go through a process of trying to find the right candidates and bring them in for interviews. And that'll probably take a few weeks of process for us, but we're hoping to do that in the next month or two. So I just wanted to let you know where we're at with that. That's all I have.
Mr. Davis, you had
Comment?
comment?
Backing up one topic.
Sure thing.
In that mix of a lot of information, you mentioned having access to the system, and that you didn't get it until the second or what did that mean for you in terms of being able to do this work and prepare everything so that it would make sense to everybody when they looked at it? Why didn't you have access sooner?
Well, the way the process is laid out, because they're doing position control, position entry is
Who
done.
is?
Finance and finance and HR, but this started when Joe Onzik was here. They did position control and position entry. So the root of the matter is, let's say 3 years ago, they went from maybe Charles and I adding up all of our positions and giving you a total dollar amount in 40,000 line item, salary and wages. Okay. So we'd add everything up and build essentially a roll up to a total, and we would give the board the total for the roll up of our positions. Well, now every position is a budgeted item, and it's done through position control. So every position is a entry in position control. And in order to control positions so that you do not go off the rails and put whatever, you think in those, they're controlled, and you submit them through forms to finance. And I don't know if they go to HR, just finance. And then finance actually moves your positions in and does the editing. We don't edit those. So while they're doing that editing, the 40,000 series for personnel, salaries and wages, those types of things, benefits, IMRF, Social Security, FICA, all of that stuff comes in after they get done with entry. But it's part of position control and part of having the buildup of positions to calculate the budget for personnel. So when I say we don't have it, we have it in our spreadsheets, but it's not in the finance system reports until they turn position control over to the budget reporting and they make it active and roll it in. So now when we run our budget reports, we'll see the 40,000 series, we'll see all the totals. We still can't go in and change those things. Those were what we submitted and what finance rolled into the budget and uploaded for us. So up until, let's say, I think it was July 2nd, Brooke, we really didn't see personnel until about July 2nd, but it was based on what we submitted through their forms. So, you kind of have this bifurcated two-part process. It's like, this is spreadsheet.
This strikes me as being problematic.
Well, I mean,
it sounds a lot like the finance department staff are controlling your ability to build your budget before you've actually even finished building it. This doesn't seem like a great plan to me.
I'm gonna.
Well,
I'm not sure how deep we want to get into this. I think
Well,
we could-
somebody better at some
One-
point, because
Well,
this is that,
I may, Chris,
doesn't sound good.
this
think-
wasn't the department. I mean, this was position control from finance and the board.
Right.
Saying they're doing position control. And we're gonna enter them using position control. Now, the implementation of that, whether you can see or do the entries, we don't have distributed data entry for position control. I think that may be the part where people are saying we should have distributed entry for position
And
control.
That's done from the internal equity study that was done. So is that part of
No,
what's?
had nothing to do with it.
No, the equity study was something that was added to position control and positions. They looked at all of the positions that are in the system. And then they made classifications. Now the position control entry holds that in place. So it tells you what your position is and what your salary is. And the board by resolution and by policy now has said that the compensation is set by the board, set by position and position control. And if you want to, you get a standard percent increase from the board. And then there could be a potential merit increase if the board wishes to provide that to people, to the departments. But the standard increase and rate of increase for employees is fixed by the board. And then we have some latitude to do some merit increases and some minor adjustments, but they have a lot of constraints about doing something within a fiscal year outside of those policies now. And in the past, it was it was more of a department deciding what they could do with the amount budgeted for salaries and wages. So if we had, 40 people and a person quit and we thought we could hire somebody back, $5,000 or $10,000 less than what that person was at, you could redistribute the $5,000 and say, I want to improve equity and help even out compensation for somebody else that's underpaid. The county took that to a level higher and said, we're going to do this compensation equity across the board. And then they set in essentially the policies to put that in a fixed place, to hold it. And so now you have to go through committee. And same thing you saw earlier with human services is somebody looking to change that or looking to make an exception. And I will tell you that Charles and I, we were talking about maybe we could work with finance and HR. Maybe there needs to be a more precise workflow to it. Department requests it, finance, HR gets the next thing. They check the boxes, then it goes straight to committee on like a warrant list. All these changes to personnel need to be made. Here's the short and skinny argument about whatever this is. Finance says yes, HR says no, HR says no, finance says yes, goes to committee. Here's a list of all of them with the recommendations. Vote on it. Don't make each one an individual stage show.
All right. Well,
And I think that would help with personnel in general. Sorry.
no, I want to hear more of this. I don't want to ruin your schedule on your
Oh.
agenda.
Well, I
This
think
is-
it's
this
something
is
we
a-
need to address in the long run.
Yeah,
here, but
I
I'm not
mean,
sure in
this
this.
is a big deal. This is, in my
Well-
mind, what we've accomplished apparently is handcuffing our own executive director level people in
Uh.
terms of being able to do everything that they should be able to do within their departments, because when we hire people like that, we are entrusting them to be the expert in that area. And now we've turned around and said, well, yeah, we're gonna foist our own expertise on you a little bit. This is just, it's not a great, I'm not saying it can't work, but I see some inherent problems to this system that I don't think make for
It's
a lot of
definitely
efficiency and.
More
and-
complicated, yeah,
Yes.
efficiency, yeah.
So we really need to talk about this more. It doesn't have to be right this minute,
Oh.
ruin your
Berman
schedule for your
had a
agenda.
short
but-
comment.
I don't know if you're that comfortable or confident or completely knowledgeable of what the system is. But finance is doing exactly what we as a board told them to do. And I think the idea was we're trying to improve that, and we're using new software, new capabilities to make that more automatic. Now, obviously, sometimes it doesn't work out as easily the first time as what you might want it to be. The other thing is, we said that we knew we were going to be over budget, right? Well, looking at the budgets now, and it's not public knowledge yet, we're something like $22.5 million more than we have money for. So Now that all
I-
the,
I'm
bud-
not pointing a finger of blame
I know,
at
but
finance.
it's,
I'm pointing it at us. We did this.
we did
wouldn't be
it,
the
but
first time
we
we
did
made
it
a
for a
mistake.
reason though. We did it for a reason.
I'm sure we did, but we don't always get it right the first time either. We
Well,
should revisit this and. do
but
it.
not everybody agrees with the reason.
Okay, we won't do
All right.
this back and forth thing
Yep,
here.
yep, sorry. I'm done.
Last statement, you don't like
I'm
it?
good for now.
You like, or we'll work on it. Ms. Juby?
I'd like to comment on what you suggested about the budget, that you have some time to suss it out for us, which I think is a great idea.
Sure.
I will be sending you 2 pages of questions.
Sure.
So that if, those can get answered during that time, that would be great. And
Okay.
my only request is that you send the answers to the entire committee.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
I think, yeah, input from everybody should be
Yeah.
dealt with and
Yeah.
digested as a group, at least in this committee for sure.
I would
And output-
recommend send it to the whole board.
And input.
I wouldn't send it to the whole board if it's not going to end up in his final budget presentation to us. He said that he was going to maybe be making changes, so I wouldn't send out information that may or may not be,
Might get really complicated.
yeah.
I'll
But
raise my
Mr.
hand.
Fonstock, yes.
Last
Go
comment.
ahead, yes.
I think what Ms. Juby's saying is probably best because the budget process goes through several stages. There's department, committee, which is standing committee. It goes to finance, exec, full county board, just
Yeah.
like a normal committee process. So they will be looking, and that was one of the questions Charles had with me was, we're putting the reports on there. Are we asking you to adopt this or to recommend it? Or is there some action or is it just read it? Because at some point, I think there is an intent that it would pass from committee to finance. So that's another question that we had was what's the action? Is it consensus? Just, so we're going to talk with finance about, the reports are there. You've seen them. What does that mean? Or do we need to get a resolution or maybe just a recommendation to finance? But we need to kind of flesh that out.
Give it some
Yeah.
authoritarian.
But that would be the normal pattern of a budget would go from admin to finance. And then finance would kind of tell us what the constraints are and go back and,
How it fits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
you.
that's all I have.
Any questions or any comments?
Well, no, I just hope that the committees all kind of do that, put the checks on things before finance gets it, and then finance has to go through 9,000 pages of people's budgets
Yep.
without the ability to ask questions. So I'm hoping that each
Sure.
committee, which is a hint to everyone who's listening, if you're on a committee, please do your due diligence.
And we
Point.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
We're good.
Thank you for doing that, Mr. Fonstock.
Yep.
We'll stick with you on under billing management.
Yep.
May I have a motion and a second to approve a special use for the Geneva Children's Business Fair at the courthouse, Third Street Courthouse?
Yes, sir.
So a motion and a motion and second.
Davis moves.
Davis
Juby
moves,
seconds.
Juby seconds. And you'll
Second.
notice that I believe I'll let you go ahead and explain it if you would, Roger, then.
So they're just using the concourse for the Geneva, I'm sorry, I don't have the name of them in
Third
front of me,
Street.
but they're gonna use the Third Street Courthouse for an event.
Children's
Judge
Business
Bowles,
Fair.
yeah, Judge Bowles has done this in the past. It's been approved. It's for Geneva Children's Business Fair, and apparently at one time had used the Geneva Commons. It's not available to them, but this has been approved, I think, for a few years running. It's on a Saturday, and we do have Judge Bowles from the civil court's approval, so we have no issues.
Okay, and you'll notice on the photocopy, it says parking lot of the Kane, but I believe that's Kane County Third Street.
It's Third
Courthouse.
Street Courthouse.
And it's been approved by the judge, and once we approve it at this committee, it's done with, it's an approved.
Yes,
Let
and
us
we have
know
one
to
other
see-
too.
Nobody else to see that. Oh, and I guess we could vote on them maybe both at the same time. Well, we already got a motion on this.
Go ahead.
I'll
All in
take my
favor?
motion for
Aye.
both if you like. We can go.
No,
we can do
just all in
kids and
favor
cars.
for the first
Aye.
one? Aye.
All right, thank you.
Anybody opposed? Then a motion and a second for Geneva Concourse
Program.
Elegance.
Board moves.
Ford moves,
Berman
A
second.
second,
What I said?
Berman second.
Good, good. None, since
You hear that? Ford and Berman, and that is a similar, this one is not a photocopy, I don't believe, in our packet. And it is again approved by the chief judge, I believe,
It's Judge Bowles, the
Judge Bowles.
former chief judge, but yeah, she's
Okay. so
presiding at the Third Street Courthouse.
On page 118. So any questions about that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, resolution. May I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract for Kane County Building Management Pavement Management Services with Patriot Maintenance Incorporated, bid number 24-036-TS for $1 million, moved by
Berman.
Berman, second by
Ford.
Okay.
Mr. Fonstak.
This is services for working on our asphalt and pavement management plan that we have. They're going to be doing the scored and scheduled prioritized work for replacing asphalt and pavement. We do have the addition to this of some work for Mill Creek. The bid was done in such a way that we can use this for both purposes, to have contracts that are proposals that we would add from Mill Creek. So you'll see two different numbers in there. One is 598,500, and another is 401,500 for a total of $1 million. These are based on the asphalt pavement management plan. It's with Patriot Maintenance. And again, it's not to exceed $1 million. These are budgeted funds, and we're recommending approval. If you have any questions.
And
Happy to
the
answer.
Mill Creek would be paid for by the Mill Creek.
Yes, there'll be separate proposals and approvals for Mill Creek work
It's up to,
and funded by Mill Creek.
okay. Any questions for Roger on this one? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Caius.
Caius, yes. Okay, motion passes. May I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract renewal for Kane County janitorial supplies with Warehouse Direct, bid number 22-018 for $140,000. Moved by
Berman.
and second by
Davis.
Davis.
This is a contract extension. I believe this was it it's the first 1-year extension. There's a 2-year contract with the option for 3 1-year renewals or extensions. This is the first year extension with Warehouse Direct. It's for $140,000. This is all of our janitorial supplies, cleaning supplies, products that we use as commodities in the buildings. It's $140,000. It's a budgeted expense, and we're recommending approval.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Fonstak? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Caius.
Caius, yes. Number 11, Information Technology, Mr. Charles Lasky. May I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing purchase of audio visual equipment and supplies from Conference Technologies Incorporated, doing business as CTA, for up to $250,000. Moved by
Ford.
Ford, second by
Davis.
Davis. Mr. Lasky.
Hi, this is Charles Lasky with the IT department. So this agreement is to utilize a purchasing cooperative tip to be able to purchase these products. CTI has been doing a lot of work in the courtrooms, doing the technology innovations and renovations, adding screens, monitors, cameras, updating Zoom content access. So this will allow us to make purchases off this agreement. We have things that are coming up that may be requiring this. So we're getting this in place before that comes up. We have another resolution also related to CTI after that, and I'll discuss that more, but we'd recommend approval for this.
Okay, any questions for Charles? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Caius.
Caius, yes. All right, item B, may I have a motion and a second to potentially approve a resolution to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing purchase of audiovisual equipment and supplies for the 16th Judicial Circuit Court from Conference Technologies Incorporated, DBA CTI.
Berman moved.
Berman
Ford seconds.
moves, Ford seconds. That's for 198, 645, 65.
All right, so this is Charles Lasky again. So this is also a resolution. It's to use a different purchasing co-op to buy equipment from CTI. This is for specific courtrooms that were added to the ARPA project. So we worked with Ernst & Young on this originally and purchasing. And the original recommendation was to utilize this to get those additional courtrooms added to make sure we were following everything we needed to related to ARP. So this is a specific set of courtrooms that, working with Andrew O'Brien and Jason Mathis, that they have planned to do. And so this bid covers that. So this is budget and we would recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions? Was this Third Street?
These, I believe, are additional ones going in at Third Street. Yes.
Okay. No questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Caius.
Dias, yes. Moving on to item 12, Mill Creek. Any update for Mill Creek, Mr. Fostock?
No specific updates. If anything, we've been working through a sidewalk replacement and repair and ADA sidewalks. And I'm just gonna say, we've had a few complaints and communications about it. There is no pretty way or easy way to go and tear out sidewalk in front of a house and put it all back together and make it look pretty instantaneously. So we've been dealing with the complaints. We're about 5 weeks into the project and we're doing restoration work right now. So a lot of the things that were dug up and torn up are being put back together. And then we're also looking forward to doing about another third of the sidewalks. Soon we're going to be using some contracts that we have available to us to try to do the work in a more incremental way, maybe 1 or 2 intersections at a time. The first time we went through this, we did 2/3 of the north neighborhood and it was very disruptive. And I think that we learned a lot from that the neighbors and the neighborhood itself, it's a very walkable community. And I think their frustration for having to go through the construction cycle, just not able to tolerate that kind of a invasive disruption. So while it costs more to mobilize multiple times, I don't know how we can do large projects in their neighborhood without causing that kind of a disruption. We're going to try to scale back and do 1 street or 1 intersection at a time. The other thing is that will probably help us with the budget and the pace of spend that we have out there. They do have a constrained or limited budget. Their annual budget is just under $1 million. And that's to do all of the landscape, all of the pavement management, sidewalks, grass cutting, pretty much everything that we do out there has to fit within that budget. So doing large concrete and asphalt projects is very expensive. And it's going to take a lot of scheduling and work to finance and put that together. So I think slowing down is fine. They're in the restoration process. I think most of the restoration will be done in the next 2 weeks. But if you hear something, please direct it to me. Bill Meyer, Brooke Roth can answer questions about it, but you may hear from it. We've heard from board member Rick Williams because that's his district. I talked with him yesterday. Brooke and I met with him and some people just to kind of go through the project schedule and what's happening. And they seemed at least satisfied with what we were telling them. I would say, I don't think anybody still enjoys having the sidewalk torn out from in front of their house. So that's kind of where we're at. We do have a few problems with some drainage issues and water and grading, but we're getting through those now that we're finishing. But that's it.
That's Bill back there, right?
Bill Myers here with us today from Mill Creek SSA coordinator.
Down if there's
Yep.
comments. Thanks for
It's
being here,
moving.
Bill. Okay, thank you. To vehicles, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing the purchase of 3 vehicles for the Kane County Sheriff's Office for 151, 184.
Davis moves.
Moved by Davis, second by Berman. And I think I see Ed Kadich. I think maybe that's why you're here, Ed.
It
You're
is just
paying us a visit. Thank you.
the
Yeah.
vehicle purchase is going to be coming out of the 2024 vehicle budget that's already been approved for the sheriff's office. It's to purchase two of the vehicles that are just normal wear and tear replacements. Yeah, it's on. Two of the vehicles
There you
for
go.
normal vehicle replacement. One is because we have run out of vehicles at times when we have accidents and we have nothing to put officers back in. So one of them is actually going to be a floating spare that can go between every division within the office. So when we do have an insurance problem and an accident, we have something that we can immediately shift an officer into with just a small amount of work.
Okay. Any questions for Ed? What the official title, Ed? Chief. Chief Administration for the Sheriff. King County Sheriff's Department. Okay, great.
It's good.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Juby,
Juby,
Tyus.
Yes. Well, I'm glad we passed that because I know she was borrowing my car to her business. Is there any new business? No new business, no old business? Any comments from any of the committee members or others?
Mr. Caius,
Yes, Ms. Bates.
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't very fast getting my mute button off, but a few minutes ago, but I just wanted to check that the cleaning products that we're using are as chemical free as possible for our employees. And can Roger just answer that question, please?
We have, Mr. Chairman, Brent Brasky could answer that.
Brent Brasky, Director of Maintenance. We are using products that are safe and are green. We are currently looking to update some of those products as well, but these are the products we've been using for a few years here at the county.
Okay, thanks. Now
Answer the
now you
question,
know
Ms.
I'm
Bates.
not an imposter. Thank you.
Okay, and I see our chair,
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to
Madam
speak.
Pirog.
Thank you, sir. As we know, a couple of months ago, there was a group of people who were standing outside handing out flyers, political flyers. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not because of the content of the flyers, but because of their own public safety. They were interrupting the free flow of people coming in and out of the building. They were also standing in the street when people were delivering their payments in the drop box for their taxes, interrupting cars, and cars are not able to do free flow around them because they're literally stopping the cars and people walking back and forth. So I was very concerned about the safety, and Roger and his team, I'd like to thank them very much for taking action on this, and our deputies as well, for helping make sure that free flow and their safety was accommodated as well. But we're going to be doing it again. There's going to be a collection of taxes again in September, which we're aware of. And I talked to our state's attorney, and I have talked to Roger about this, but I want to make sure that we bring this forward so it's not kind of secret or hidden or anything. That the state's attorney has suggested that there is a space that is allocated here in the county on county property, which would be not too far away from our main entrance, for free speech. So there could be a special area where people can safely gather to distribute, to speak about whatever concerns publicly that they would have, that would facilitate an opportunity for people to come up and talk to them, that they're not interfering with the Kane County business, or most importantly to me, not getting in the way and maybe getting hurt. Standing in roadways, parkways. So Roger has working on trying to identify what would be an appropriate location for that. I don't believe it's a budgeted item, but I just want to bring that to your attention.
All right, thank you. Do you have comments on that, Mr. Feinstein?
I just agree. I mean, we've talked about this for a few weeks. We haven't gotten to the point where we have it in proposal format, but that's the next step. And we're thinking of bollards or posts with maybe some chain to identify an area. Try not to make it too obtrusive or obstructive. And then like some type of a sign that says, You know, it's free speech, right to assemble, those types of things. We haven't got the exact wording, but that's something that I think would be necessary. And then it gives our staff a place to direct people to. So you cannot stand in the sidewalk and block people from going through. Can't stand in the road, but you can go here and it's there for your use. And we may, one of the things that I would say happened was that the tax drop box is behind here. And we did get good cooperation, but we asked them to not stand near the tax drop box and talk to people driving their car and trying to push stuff through the window. Or like, if you want, you can come down further to the stop sign. And they were very cooperative. They're like, I understand, but we did have people stopping to talk at the box while people are trying to go through and pay taxes, and it got congested. And I would say it's a little dangerous because somebody's going to get rear-ended or hit. But there's those two areas where they were trying to provide some information or talk to people. And that's really kind of the root of what our problem or challenge is, trying to fix that and get it to where they have a place to go. It's designated, it's clear, and we can also use that with our staff to direct them there.
Okay. Is there anybody comment?
I don't think
A
we need
question I
any
would have-
action.
No,
from us.
not any action, but a question I have, or do you want to go, Juby, first?
It doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that we are within following the First Amendment rights of peaceful assembly. Because in my understanding, they are allowed to be on a sidewalk in a government building, and and I don't believe they're allowed to congregate in a street, which would cause accidents, but I think we need to be very, very careful that we dot our i's and cross our t's if we are funneling someone into a location. I mean, I understand totally. I mean, I understand the danger and the safety, and your freedom doesn't allow you to infringe on someone else's freedom to come in and pay their bills. I understand. I'm just cautioning us to make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's.
That would be I'll just back that up with like a best management practice if it's been performed in other areas, similar to what we have here. I mean, we have a unique place, obviously, but something we can tailor it from that has withstood the challenges that you're suggesting that people would have, that a group that would want to do this would have. And then, Madam Chair?
And Ms. Juby, I totally support what you've said. And the reason why this idea has come forward is that this has come directly through our state's attorney, our chief of civil, who said that a designated area for free speech will not impinge the right of people to speak. But unless we have a designated area, you are 100% correct.
Not sure how that, well, we'll work through this anyway. And the state's attorney is involved, so.
Yeah, I think the difference is between providing a space that's safe and structured. It's kind of like when you permit for a gathering, permit for somebody. I mean, if we had, 200 people descend on the government center and they're all, we couldn't handle it. Obviously, we've had that. So how do you handle it? And I think we have capacity from the fire marshal. We have been told by the fire marshal that we can tell people not to block fire and egress and paths to get out of the building, not to congregate in stairwells, not to block exits. So we've been trying to work during your meetings to be, polite and ask people, we can't have you congregate here, can't have you stand here. Please go to the auditorium. You can watch there. It's not a no, it's not a you can't, it's here's an answer. Here's a place to go. You'll be safe. You'll not be in the way. You're not going to cause us problem with fire egress. But the days of us having overcapacity standing room only in this room had to stop because of the fire code. And also, we get the questions about safety and things that seem like they're disruptive or on the edge of being disruptive. And one of the discussions we had with Commander Wolf was the officer's ability to do something in a crowded room of standing people would mean that they have to push people out of the way to get to the problem, or they can't see what's going on clearly because all these people are standing. So they're like, if you limit it to the capacity, which is the fire code, it makes it easier. They're all seated. They should be seated. They can see over. Somebody stands and is, doing something inappropriate, or maybe it's, we're concerned. They can actually see it and act. Otherwise, we have all these people congregating, and they have to walk through 10 bodies before they can get to the problem, and it might be too late.
Yeah.
So we're trying to address that with capacity, hallways with fire code and egress and access, giving them alternative places. This is very similar to that. And
Logical extension.
yeah,
of
we'll,
that.
we'll be talking with the state's attorney, and any sign, anything we put up, it'll have, legal vetting. We can create the space, call it, free speech, or, whatever zone. And then how you use it would probably matter the most, what you're telling a person. And we even have like a 2-page email that we send out instructions, and it actually gives our staff even the types of things that we want them to say to people. You can't just say whatever you want. You need to tell them that these are the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. You can't block the AED defibrillator. If we need it to be able to get to it on the wall. It'll save somebody's life. That's a good reason not
Old
to.
guys appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a good reason not to congregate around the defibrillator, right? A good reason not to be in the stairs. Somebody will trip and fall down the stairs. So give them, it's kind of like with children, your children, right? You tell them no, but do you tell them why?
Okay.
Why?
Well, I think we're going far enough on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Any other
Well,
questions or
it's true.
comments for it? It is true. Okay, right. Then that would be your satisfactory there. Any other new or old business? May I have a request to put the reports on file? Berman says yes.
Have a second.
Berman wants it to be, Berman is asking for unanimous consent, to put the reports on file. Is there any objection? Hearing none. Reports are on file. We are going into executive session. Mr. Francis, I see you back there, and that is to discuss.
Closed session.
Closed session, or to discuss closed session minutes. So I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the release of closed session minutes. Moved by Ford, second by Berman. Roll call, please.
Oh my gosh. Berman. Davis,
Yes, yes.
Juby,
Juby,
Pius.
Yes.
All right, those folks online that are going to join us in the closed session, please accept your invites. If there is anybody in the room that's also joined digitally, you must join before we can officially go into the closed session. Please accept the invites.
Oh, no, oh,
Oh, wow.
Mr. Tepe, you're holding us up.
Nice to see you.
Problem.
I'll do that. Except you. Except you.
Oh, okay.
So just releasing.
All right, thank you so much. That's okay. Take your time.
We have a little book club here. Let's just give it our some, you know.
All right, you are in open session.
Okay, we're open session. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes. Here.
Board present.
Gums, Young, Juby,
Over here.
Pius.
Vice President. We have a quorum. Then I would entertain a motion in a second to approve the release of open or closed session minutes as explained by Mr. Cermak and as identified in Exhibit A.
Berman moves.
Moved by Berman, second by
Ford.
Ford. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Pius.
Caius, yes. Motion passes.
It's Horseshack invitation, but that's all
Oh. That goes way, way farther back than I'm aware of.
right.
Okay, well, I believe that's the business today. If there's no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to. Mr. Davis moves that we adjourn the meeting. Ford seconds. Okay, all in favor?